Okay, now then. Somebody wanted to come in, I think. I don't know. Right, okay, we're good. Now let's start off with our tefillah. Just opening it now. Like I said, I only got home, so give me a moment to get myself organized. Here we are. Now, I need to share my screen. Share screen. Okay, so let's dedicate our learning for the release of the hostages, Bezrat Hashem, and that God should give the right thing to do for the government and send us peace in the right way and safety in the north, and look after the soldiers wherever they are and give them victory. Amen. And refuah shalema to those who are wounded. ריבון עולמים ואדוני אדונים, אב רחמן וסליחות, מודים אנחנו לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, וקידה בשתחוויה שקרבתנו לתורתך ולעבודתך עבודת הקודש, ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה. מה אנו ומה חיינו, אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה. על כן אנחנו מפילים תפילנו לפניך. שתמחול ותצלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו. אבל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לבינך, וכן יהיו רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, שתכונן את לבבינו לראותך ולבעתך, תקשיב אוזנך לדברינו אלה, ותפתח לבבינו הערל בסודות תורתך, ויהיה לימודנו זה נחת רוח, לפני כיסא כבודך קרח ניחוח, ותאציל עלינו, אור מקור נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו, שיתנוצצו ניצוצות אבותיך הקדושים, אשר על ידם גלית דבריך אלה בעולם, וזכותם, וזכות אבותם, וזכות תורתם ותמינותם וקדושתם, יעמוד לנו לבל נכשל בדברים אלו, ובזכותם תראיננו במה שאנו לומדים, כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל, גל עיני והביטה נפלאות מתורתך, כי אדוני תן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה, יהיו לרצון ממפי, ויגון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Amen. Can you rachon? Great, wonderful. So, what I want to begin with today is the piece in the Zohar. Let me just pull that up also. Korach. Find it. Here we are. That's it. Oh no, I'm not sure you can see that. Let me do share screen. There we go. Okay, we're starting at Aleph. All right, so here's the Zohar at the top. Let me just zoom out a bit. And it begins like this. Vikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahat ben Levi v'Gomer. Rabbi Abba Patach, הנחמדים מזהב ומפז רב, ומתוקים מדבש ונופת צופים. כמה עילאים פתגמי אורייתא, כמה יכירין אינון, תאיבין אינון לעילה, תאיבין אינון לקולה, בגין דאינון שמה קדישה, וכל מן ישתדל באורייתא, ישתדל בשמה קדישה, וישתזף מכולו, V'ishtazev ba'olma din, v'ishtazev ba'olma da'ati. Tachazi, kol ma dishtadel ba'oraita, achid be'ilana dachayi, kevan da'achid bei, v'kula achid, dichtiv eitz chaim hi, lemachazikim ba v'gome. V'yikach Korach ben Yitzhar. Rabbi Abba, and Korach took for himself. Rabbi Abba opened his discourse and he said, "Hanechmadim mizahav mipazrav mutukim midvash v'nofet sufim." More pleasant than gold, more sweet than spun gold, or from honey and from the nectar. How high are the words of Torah? How precious they are. How pleasant they are above. How pleasant they are for everyone. When it says how high are the words of the Torah, it doesn't mean high vertically, okay? And the word high in Kabbalah means that it is close to God in the sense that God is giving unconditionally, and the Torah teaches us how to give unconditionally. So the words of Torah bring us close to the Torah, okay? And that's why they're precious, and that's why they're sweet, and that's why they're more beautiful than gold, okay? And they are pleasant because they bring us close to God. Mishum Shehem Shem HaKadosh, because they are God's holy name. Okay, what is the holy name? The name of God is the way we recognize the light of God. Okay? So that we can recognize the light of God when we're in affinity of form with Him. So the more we're in affinity of form, the more we're able to recognize God's goodness. And the Torah helps us do that. In fact, without the Torah, we wouldn't be able to do that at all, because our own will to receive for ourselves alone takes us away from our connection with God. It takes us away from our connection with the soul. It takes us away from the Creator. Okay, and it's the Torah brings us back. So it's the Torah, connecting with the Torah helps us remember how to give unconditionally and brings us close to one. And then the words of God, the words of the Torah actually reflect God's holy names, okay, which is the way we perceive His light, His goodness. V'kol mi shemishtadel b'Torah, and whoever strives in the Torah. What is striving? Why do we have to strive in the Torah? We have to try, okay? We have to put our effort in. We have to try. We have to try to understand it. We have to try to fulfill it, okay? We have to try to bring it into our lives. We have to try to use it as a living guide for our relationships with ourselves, with God, with our communities, with our families. It has to be that living guide, okay? But it doesn't say we have to succeed, okay? All we're asked to do is to try. That's it. God, it's up to God whether we succeed or not. All we need to do is try. Somebody who tries, he's saved from every evil. What's evil? When we're separated from God, when we are acting only from our will to receive for ourselves alone. Nitzal b'olam hazeh v'nitzal b'olam haba. He's saved from this world and he's saved from the next world. Bo ura'eh. Come and see. Kol mi she'osek b'Torah. Whoever is practicing the Torah. Well, practicing again, it's osek b'Torah is not just sitting with a book and learning it. It's like, that would be, learning Torah. Osek is, I think, going further. It's taking it and bringing it right inside, okay, into the body till it reaches the feet. I was learning this week in the Gemara that there are 5 levels of soul. Actually, I was learning in Talmud Sfirot, Rabbi Ashag's main book on the work of the Ari, and he brings there, it's near the beginning, I'm not very good at that book, and he brings there a quotation from the Gemara, the 5 levels of soul, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Hain, Yedidah. We know about them because King David in his Psalms said, Bochi nafshi et Hashem, bless the Lord, O my soul. 5 different Psalms, okay? And it brings them in the Gemara there. And I began to understand, one of them is, Bochi nafshi et Hashem, v'kol kovai et Shem kodsho. And all my insides, like my soul shall bless God with all my insides, his holy name. Okay? The same idea, his holy name. In other words, we need to recognize the light of God and practice the Torah, okay, at every level of our being, all right, till we get it right down to the tips of our toes, okay? That's what it seems to me that Asek B'Torah really is. And then we really are saved from every evil because we're not at that point able to be disconnected from God, okay? And the evil that the Kabbalah is talking about is the separation from God, when instead of using the light of anything really for the sake of God, or we're using it for the will to receive for ourselves alone. Bo'ra'eh, come and see. Kol mi she'osek b'Torah, whoever is practicing the Torah, involved in the Torah, bringing it into his life in whatever way he can, achuz ba'etz hachayim, is holding on to the tree of life. Now, the tree of life in Kabbalah is faith, basically, okay? It's when we're giving unconditionally, that's the tree of life, because that giving unconditionally can never be disturbed. All right, it's always in affinity of form with God. And since he's holding on to the tree of life, he's holding on to everything. I'm sure the word kol here means something. I think, as far as I know, the kol means the malchut as well. Shekatuv, as it's written, eitz chaim hi lemachzikim ba. It's a tree of life to those who take hold of it. Okay, what's talking? Taking hold of the Torah. Rabbi Yitzhak אמר, כל man ישתדל באורייתא, חיירו יצלה בכולו, חיירו ממיתה. כמו דאמן, בגין דחיירו עלי שריה. ואחיד בי, אילו ישראל מתעטרין באורייתא, ישתזבו מכולו, ולא ישתחררו בגלותה. ודאו דכתיב, חרוט על הלוחות, אל תקרא חרוט אלא חירות. וחירות דה בערותה ישתכח. אורייתא ישתכח. אורייתא היא חילה דימנה. כמו שכתוב, מימינו אשתת לאמור, ושמאלו יתקלל בימינו. מן דאביד ימינה שמאלה, ושמאלה ימינה, האיהו כאילו חריב עולמה. Rabbi Yitzhak said, whoever is practicing the Torah, is freedom from everything. Freedom from death. Okay, what does death mean? Death means disconnection. Death means separation. Okay? כמו שאמרנו, as we've said, משום שחירות, freedom שהוא בינה, שורה עליו ואחוז בו, rests on it and is held by it. אילו היו ישראל מתעטרים בתורה, היו ניצולים מכל. If Israel were crowned by the Torah, that is receiving its light, they would be saved from everything. ולא היו נמצאים בגלות, and they would not be in exile. וזה שכתוב, חרוט על הלוחות, engraved on the tablets, אל תקרא חרוט עם or sound, עם חטא כמוצא, אלא חירות, meaning freedom, okay, with an A sound. כי חירות זו נמצאת בתורה. For this freedom is to be found in the Torah. התורה היא כוח הימין, and the Torah is the power of the right-hand line. Okay. Now then. Let's just have a look and see what it says here. Whoever is practicing the Torah, he has freedom from everything. Freedom from death. That means freedom from separation. Because this freedom, which is Bina, what is Bina? The will to give unconditionally. So Bina is always in Dveikut with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bina is always one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? So Bina, this freedom, which is Bina, is infusing the person, and he's holding on to that. And if Israel, who are crowned with the Torah, that is able to receive its light, were actually using it, they would be saved from everything. And they would not be in exile. What's exile? Separated from God, separated from your soul, separated from each other, separated from God. That's exile. And this is why it said engraved on the tablets. Don't read engraved, meaning freedom, because the Torah gives us freedom. Freedom from the angel of death. Freedom from being separated. HaTorah hi koach hayamin. Now the Torah is the power of the right-hand line. And what's the right-hand line? The line of giving. The line of giving unconditionally. Okay? That's Torah. As it's written, Mimino Eishtat Lamo. From his right hand, I'm not quite sure what this means. I forgot to look it up. I apologize.
It's a parsec from Tehillim. I think
It
so.
is.
I'm wrong.
Yeah. Do you know how to translate it? I can quickly put it in Safari or something. We can get the right translation. Let's do that. Mimino Eishtat Lamo. Okay, let's stick it in. Oh, it's not from Tehillim. It's from Devorim Lamed Gimel. There you go. Ah, yes, that's right. So that must be V'zot HaTorah. No. V'yom Hashem miSinai bav zarach miSeir lamo hofir meha paran v'atam malvevet kodesh mimino eishtat lamo. There we go. Okay, so Devorim 33, verse 2. Devorim 33. Okay, got it. Oh, did I share it? I'm not sorry. I'm not think I shared it with you. Stop share. New share. Here we go. Okay. V'zot habracha. That's what I meant to say. I apologize. V'yam Hashem Sinai, and the Lord came from Sinai. Ba v'zarach miseir, and rose from Seir to them. Hofir mihar paran. He shined forth from Har Paran. Vata mivavot kodesh, and he came from the holy myriads. Mimino ashtat lamo. At his right hand was a fiery law to them. That's really interesting, isn't it? Okay. So the Aish is the fire, is the left-hand line, but the Dat is the law, and it's all included in his right-hand line. So the left-hand line is the side of Din, and the right-hand line is the side of Chesed. So here we see that the Din is included in the Chesed. And that's exactly what the Zohar says. If we go back there again. Okay. So if you don't know, what we did now was, it's exactly the way to learn. If you don't know where a phrase comes from or what it means, don't hesitate. You put it in Google, you find the reference, okay, and you look it up, okay. It's the right way to learn, okay. You see, in the old days, they knew all this off by heart, so they didn't put in the whole references. But we don't know it off by heart. So here's my Tanakh. Normally I'm sitting here with my Tanakh next to me, okay? And I learn with my Tanakh, all right? And yesterday when I was learning this, I obviously didn't have my Tanakh and I forgot I thought I would look it up afterwards and I didn't. Okay, so here we go. But that's the right way to learn. When you see something you don't remember, you see the quotations, always look them up. They're always fascinating. And this is what the Zohar says. The left-hand line, which is the side of Din, Nichlal Biyamin, is included in the right-hand line. Okay, so the judgment is included in the Chesed. So the Chesed is the overriding requirement, okay? And the judgment is included in that. Mi she'oseh yamin small, v'smol yamin, hu ke'ilu machriv ha'olam. And whoever makes the right-hand line, which is giving the left-hand line, and the left-hand line makes it into the right-hand line, is destroying the world. That's, wow. I mean, this has been what's been going on in the world completely, okay? Israel has been acting with the most chesed one could possibly imagine, all right? And it's accused of genocide, all right? And those who are actually really doing genocide are not accused of anything. And that's exactly the way to destroy the world. So this is happening. Why is this happening on the outer? Because there's some aspect within ourselves which is doing this on the inner. All right, the outer manifestation of this incredible chaos that we're seeing, where the right-hand line, which is giving, is confused with the left-hand line, and the left-hand line, which is the aspect of judgment, is confused with the right-hand line, is actually happening within us. And that's why we see this on the world, from the world. That's the correspondence. But the place to look is not at the world. The place to look is at ourselves. And we're going to be looking at this in a minute. I've got a wonderful piece from the Sfat Emet, which talks about this. Tachazi, Aron Yamina, Come, oh no, let's read this Zohar first. Tahazi, Aon Yamina, Lori Smola. Kawach baile my bad chilufa Yamina Smola. Begin kachit anash. Velo od ele ishtakach by lishna bisha. With anash bekulo. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Smolit Kalilta de Yamina. Koach bal achlafa tikuna de la Eila Vatata. Begin kach it abid me Eila Vatata. Come and see. Aaron is the right-hand line, okay? His midah is chesed, okay? That's the midah of the Kohanim. The midah of the Kohanim is the midah of loving kindness. Ohev shalom, rotev shalom. Okay, that was Aaron. Hevei midah midah shel Aaron. Ohev shalom, rotev shalom. Okay, ohev tabuyot u'mkovan leTorah. Well, he loves peace, he wants peace, and he brings the people close to the Torah. Well, that is the aspect of Aaron. And the Leviim are small. They're the left-hand line. And the Leviim belong to Gvura. So the Leviim actually have vessels of receiving. That's their nature, okay? And on the one hand, it's a powerful vessel. It's more powerful than the right-hand line. Okay, but it can land them in trouble because when you've got a will to receive, the possibility of using it to receive for oneself is present. Okay, that's why God took the Leviim for his portion. Okay, because he wanted to kind of like make sure that they would be able to use their talents instead of using them for the will to receive, be able to, for themselves, to use them to receive in the Holy Temple and to be used under the guidance of the Kohanim. Okay, so they're included in the side of the Kohanim. And in fact, the tafkid of the Leviim was to serve the Kohanim, and that teaches us the right balance between the right-hand line and the left-hand line. So the right hand needs to be predominant. The loving kindness needs to be predominant. And the left-hand line needs, although it's a stronger vessel, needs to nullify itself and be subservient to the Levi, to the left-hand line. Sorry, to the right-hand line. So the Leviim need to be subservient to the Kohanim. But what did Korach want? Korach ratzah lasot chiluf hayamin l'smol. He wanted to exchange their place, okay? He wanted to make the left-hand line, which is the side of the vessels of receiving, stronger than the side of the right-hand line, which is the side of chesed. Shuatzah kuna, shu yamin, okay? And he wanted that for the Leviim, Shem small, all right? Now, he wanted to exchange roles. So he wanted it not just for himself, he wanted it for the Leviim, for all the Leviim. And because of this, Ne'nash, all right? For this, he was punished. What does that mean, punishment? He got a natural consequence for what he was doing, because when you exchange these two roles, okay, then it causes what it said earlier, destruction to the world, because the will to receive is the vessels of receiving, but their tikkun is to be under the dominance of the Kohanim, of the right-hand line, of the chesed, okay? And that wasn't only the problem, but he also spoke Lashon Hara against Moses. And he was punished for everything. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Rabbi Yehuda said, "Hasmol nichlal tamid biyamin." The left-hand line needs always to be included in the right-hand line, okay? Tikuno shel hasmol, because that's the correction of the left-hand line. The Leviim would stand in the Beit HaMikdash on the side of the Korban, the north-hand side, the side where the Shechita took place, okay? And they would make tunes and song, and they would project their song over to the Kohanim. So they would move like the energy from the left-hand line to the right-hand line. Okay, that's where they would project their voices to the right-hand line. And he wanted to, it says here, Korach wanted to exchange the tikkun, what should be above and what should be below. And he wanted that the dominance of the Leviim, which are the left people of the whose midah, whose root of their soul is vessels of receiving, not to be under the dominance of the right-hand line, not to be included within them, okay? And if they're not included within them, their chance of receiving for themselves alone is colossal. And this way he was lost both above and below, like he lost everything. Daled. Vikach Korach, and Korach took. My Vikach, Nasiv Eta Bisha Lagame, Kol Dradaf Bata de Lav Delay, you Arik Mikame, Vlo Od Elamad It Beit Avid Mine, Korach Radif Bata de Lav Delay Avid, Vachra Lo Avach. And he asked the question, what did he take? Korach cooked, Korach took. He asked, what did he take? And he answers, Lakach etzara al atzmo. He took bad advice to himself. And the Zohar says, Kol harodef achar she'eino shelo. If somebody is chasing after something which is not his, uboreach mipanav, it runs away from him. V'lo od, not only that, ela ma sheyesh lo, but what should be his, nevad mimenu, he loses. Korach radaf achar she'eino shelo. He pursued something which didn't belong to him. V'shelo avad, and he lost what did belong to him. V'achel lo eviach, and he didn't gain anything else. That's also important. Hey, Korach azil b'machloket. My machloket, plugata. Plugata de le'ela v'tata. Uman de ba'il aflaga tikuna de olmait avid mikolo almin. Machlukata plugata de shalom. Uman palig al shalom, palig al shema kadisha. Begin de shema kadisha shalom ikrei. Korach. Halach b'machloket. Korach went with machloket. Ma'o machloket? What is a machloket? Division, argument, quarrel. Harchaka v'tichui, separation and pushing away. Harchaka v'tichui shel hama'ala u'lamata, separation and rejection from above and below. And whoever wants to put away the correction of the world, will be lost from all worlds. Machloket, Machloket is the pushing away and the rejection of peace. Umisha cholek al shalom, whoever is quarreling over peace, cholek al shemo kadosh, is quarreling over God's holy name. Mishum shemo shel kadosh baruch hu, because God's holy name is called Shalom. Okay? Now, is every argument wrong? Does every argument bring separation, bring pushing away, bring rejection, but take away peace? The answer is no. There is machloket l'shem shamayim. The Gemara is filled with machloket l'shem shamayim. All right? So in the Sfat Emet, which I'm going to bring now, he discusses what's the difference between this machloket of Korach and a machloket of Hashem Shamayim. Okay, and how do we discern the difference? And I think this is something which is so important for Am Yisrael to understand right now, because we've got such machlokets in the land, okay? And they're not all wrong, but if we can understand clearly how to quarrel, okay, how to make our different views heard, how to do it, we can actually bring a lot of value from it. So let's look at the Sfat Emet, which I scanned earlier, okay, and see how that works. Oh, it's not here, 1 second. Let me find it. Option. Oh. Let me find the. Here we go. Oh, it's a bit sideways. Let's worry about that. We can deal with that. Oh, you probably can't see it yet. I'll show you in a second. I'll just get it straight. Organize. Right. There we go. And it's all the right way up now. Now, Zoom, share screen. Here we go. All right. Unfortunately, the print in this book for the Sfat Emet itself is extremely faint, okay? And it doesn't come out, no matter what I do, it doesn't come out at all good. So the commentary afterwards from Rav Ayal Vered is actually excellent, and that comes out fine. But the Sfat Emet itself doesn't come out any at all, so I have to read it to you. Let me get the right one. Here we are. Barashi and Barashi, the Gemara, Lo Kativ Ben Yisrael. Okay, so when it talks about Korach in the first place, it says Korach Ben Yitzhar Ben Levi. I think it's Ben Kahat Ben Levi. Okay. That's it. It stops there. It doesn't say Ben Yaakov or Ben Yisrael. Yaakov bikesh rachamim al atzmo shelo yizacher shemo al hamachloket. Yaakov asked for mercy on himself. He didn't want his name involved or mentioned on this machloket. And what does it mean, rachamim al atzmo? What does it mean having mercy on himself? But the holy point, which our father Yaakov, may his memory be for a blessing, put the point of truth inside the children of Israel, Nekudah shel emet, On this, he requested that it should never be messed up ever. ולכן אמרו חז"ל, and therefore the sages have said, אף על פי שחטא ישראל, אשר חטא ישראל הוא, even though Israel sins, וכל ישראל יש להם חלק לעולם הבא. No, oh, sorry. I'll say that again. Even though shachata Yisrael, shachata, even though he sinned, Yisrael hu, a Jew is still a Jew. He's still Yisrael. V'kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek l'olam haba. And all Israel has a portion of the world to come. V'hainu she'im adam chutei mistalek mimenu ota nukuda. We find, therefore, that if a person sins and that point leaves him, aval lo yachol lachto bezeh, he can't sin in that way, shu bechinat titen emet liYaakov, because of the aspect of give truth to Yaakov. Upiresh avi Moizik Nizal, and my father and teacher, my grandfather of blessed memory, said, Shemetu dvar mitkayem la'ad. Truth is something which exists forever. Ki mayim hamachzivim meimehem pam echad nikrim achzev hefech haemet. Because water whose like a spring, you know, which whose waters fail, is called nahal achziv. Okay, there's rivers in Israel whose waters don't flow in the summer, and these are called disappointing waters, waters achziv. Hefech haemet, are the opposite of truth. V'lachen b'ityachaso al haduchan ketiv ben Yisrael. And then in its relationship to the Levi at the Duchan, it's written Ben Yisrael. We'll see what this means in a minute. Shechelek ze mitztaref letovah. The fact that Ben Yisrael is connected for good, v'lo leva'a, and not for bad. V'zeh shekatuv shelo yizacher shmo al hamachloket, ki kocho shel Yaakov eino mitgale b'machloket, rak im b'dveikud b'achdut. For the power of Yaakov is not revealed in a machloket unless they are clinging to unity. Now, the Sfat Emet is very difficult to understand, and I don't understand it. But I do understand what Rabbi Vered writes, and I'm so glad that we've got this book. Okay? Now, you might be able to, those of you who can read Hebrew, you might be able to follow if I zoom in a bit. I won't read all the Hebrew, I'll just translate it, okay? And he writes like this: 300 years before the machloket of Korach and all his congregation against Moses, Yaakov Avinu stood and blessed his sons. And when it got to the children of, to his son Levi, Yaakov requests, V'koholam al techad kvodi. In their assembly, don't let me be together, don't unite them with my glory, my honor. Rashi says, Mefaresh sheYaakov bikesh kasher gizmano shel hamachloket Korach vedato. Yaakov asks that when it comes to the time of the quarrel of Korach with his congregation, when they assembled all their congregation against Moses and Aaron, Lo yuskar shemo shel Yaakov binyan. He doesn't want Yaakov doesn't want his name mentioned at all. V'achen b'tchilat ha'parasha ne'emar, and that's why it says at the beginning of the parasha, V'kach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahat ben Levi. That's it. V'sham utzrim, and that's where they stop. V'lo nichtav ben Yaakov, and it's not written the son of Yaakov. This sort of technical little detail appears strange. Ha'im Yaakov da'ag la'atzmo? Was Yaakov worried about himself? Hasfat emet lokech otanu lemachos acher lachalutin. The Sfat Emet takes us to a totally different domain. Yaakov wants to clarify להבהיר שמה שהוא חקק בתכונתו בליבם של בניו, that what he made sure is engraved as a characteristic in the heart of his sons, לא יכול ללכת יחד עם מחלוקת קורח. It simply cannot go together with the מחלוקת of קורח. ולדבר שיעקב חקק קוראים אמת. And the aspect, the thing that Yaakov engraved in all of us, his children, is called truth. וכאן יש הפתעה מסוימת, and here there's a certain surprise. מחלוקת במבט ראשון נראית כאין עניין שמקדם את האמת. At first glance, a מחלוקת appears to be something which, you know, gets the truth out. מחלוקת נוצרת כאשר מתווכחים על האמת. A מחלוקת is formed when we discuss what really is the truth. חברה בלי מחלוקות היא חברה שאמת לא חשובה לה. In fact, a society without מחלוקת, without different quarrels or arguments all the time, is a community whose truth is not important to it. החברה רדומה ואדישה, a community which is sleepy and passive. והרי כל דף בגמרא מלא מחלוקות. Every single page of the Gemara is filled with arguments. באיזה אופן אם כן סותרת המחלוקת את האמת? In what way, therefore, does a מחלוקת, or this מחלוקת, contradict the truth? And when does a מחלוקת contradict the truth, or hide the truth? התשובה נמצאת אצל קורח. The answer is to be found by קורח. קורח טען כלפי משה טענה עניינית בתחילה. קורח first makes a very, straightforward complaint at the beginning. אך מהר מאוד עבר להסתה אישית. But very quickly he moves from sort of like a issue trying to, he looks at the beginning as if he's just trying to clarify something, but very quickly he sort of goes off into personal issues. שיתף פעולה עם דתן ואבירם. He starts to cooperate with Datan and Aviram, okay? And Datan and Aviram were known to be problematic from the time of Egypt. They were the ones who were busy quarreling. And when Moses stopped them and says, why are you quarreling? He says, well, you're going to kill us like you killed the Egyptian guard. Datan and Aviram did not accept the rule of Moses right from the beginning. He gathered to himself a coalition of bitter people. And the only common denominator between them was actually opposition to Moses. And I think this is the most powerful piece here. In this way, Korach transformed the machloket. Instead of it being a clarification of who really should be a Kohen and what's the real tafkid of the Levi, and why am I a Levi and not a Kohen, okay, which could be a clarification. What he did was he then derailed the whole thing and started to quarrel for its own sake. המחלוקת היא כלי לבירור האמת. In fact, an argument is a way to clarify the truth. אבל היא רק כלי. It's only a tool. כל צד אמור לדעת שיש גרעין של אמת גם בצד השני. Every side needs to know that there is a grain of truth in the other side also. אלא הצד שלי גובר. Just I think that my side has got more than the other. למעשה, המחלוקת איננה על האמת, מפני שהאמת מורכבת מכל הצדדים. In fact, a true argument is not about the truth, because the truth is composed from all sides. ולעולם אינה נמצאת רק בצד אחד, and is never to be found just on one side. מחלוקת אמיתית היא באיזה דרך או נתיב של האמת נכון לנהוג כרגע. A true argument is through what channel of the truth is it appropriate to conduct ourselves at this moment. Okay? I personally am finding a lot of hints of, this was written a few years ago, and I'm finding a lot of hints about what's happening now. כך לדוגמה במחלוקת בית שמאי ובית הלל. For example, you have the מחלוקת of בית שמאי ובית הלל. ברור ששני צדדים נכונים. It's clear that both sides were correct. גם ענוותנותו של הלל, המקרבת והמאירה. On the one hand, you've got the humility of Hillel, which brings a person close and which gives him light. וגם קפדנותו של שמאי דורשת דייקנות. But also you've got the strictness of Shammai, which wants punctiliousness. אלו ואלו אמת. They're both true. השאלה היא כיצד נכון לנהוג היום בדור הזה. The question is, what's right for us to act today in this generation, במצב הזה, in this situation? יכול להיות שבזמן אחר, במקום אחר, it could certainly be that at a different time, in a different place, צד אחר של האמת יהיה דומיננטי יותר. Another aspect of the truth will be more dominant, וינהגו על פיו, and we conduct ourselves in that way. ואכן מובא בזוהר הקדוש, and in fact it is brought in the Holy Zohar, שלעתיד לבוא יפסקו הלכה כבית שמאי, that in the future they will decide the halacha according to בית שמאי. כאשר כוח חולק, הוא עושה זאת באופן טוטלי. But when Korach is making the argument, he's doing it in a total way. כל האמת נמצאת אצלו. All the truth is by him. והוא משתמש בה ולא מרפה ממנה. He uses it and doesn't let go. למרות ניסיונותיו של משה לפייסו, despite Moses' attempts to, calm him down and to talk nicely and to find the way round, etc. וכך הוא מוכיח שלא האמת שהוא שמנחה אותו. And it's in this way that he's actually proving that he's not actually looking for the truth. אין במעשיו חיפוש חתירה לאמת. There's nothing in his deeds which is really looking for the truth. יעקב שחקק בנו בנס דרישת האמת. Yaakov, who engraved within us, his children, the search for truth, מבקש שבסוג כזה שבמחלוקת שמו לא יוזכר. Ask that this type of מחלוקת, he doesn't want his name mentioned. מחלוקת כזו איננה אמת. Such an argument is not true. It's not for the truth. היא שקר שצבוע בגדי אמת. It's a lie which is disguised in the garments of truth. המחלוקת נשתדה. It's like the power, the good power of the argument is being robbed. ונעשה כלי שרת בידיו של כוח כדי לקדם את רצונותיו הנמוכים, and becomes a tool in the hands of Korach to simply advance his lowly desires.
Yedidah?
Yes.
Why did Korach ask Moshe those two questions about the blue string?
Yeah.
And there was something else.
Yeah, about the if a talus is kulo tachelet, and does it need a tzitzit, and does a room full of Sifrei Torah need a mezuzah?
Why did he ask him those questions?
So this is coming from his, first of all, his own vessels are vessels of receiving. The vessels of receiving are vessels of logic, okay?
Right,
And whereas Moses, to accept the Torah of Moses, we have to go in faith. So what he
okay,
wanted to do was a person of logic, okay,
mhm,
instead of him being subordinate to Moses and saying, okay, I see here there's something here I don't understand, because the Moses says a talit which is completely blue does need a tzitzit, and
right,
a room full of Torah needs a mezuzah, okay?
right,
Even though logically, what does the one extra thread of tzitzis give? And logically, what does the little piece of parchment with one extra piece of Torah, which is already in the room anyhow, what does that add? So logically, Korach is saying, logically, this doesn't make sense. Now, according to what we read in the Zohar, he has to subordinate himself to Moses, because Moses is going by faith. Okay, Emunah, he's called Raya Meimunah. He's the shepherd of faith. So he has to say, okay, my logic says that a talit, which is all blue, doesn't need a tzitzit, and a room full of Torah doesn't need an extra piece on the lintel. But if Moshe Rabbeinu says it does, then I'm going to do it. That's what he should have done. But what he did was he used his logic to overcome the right-hand line instead of to go to serve the right-hand line, to be included with the right-hand line. He wants to make the left-hand line greater. He wants to say that my way, okay, is greater than Moses' way, because Moses' faith doesn't make sense. But what he should have done is he should say that the Torah is given to us and to teach us that the way of faith, which is the Eitz Chaim, which is what we read at the beginning, if God has given us the Torah through faith, then we have to understand that not only is the Torah true, but the way of Torah is true as well. That the way of faith is true. And that's what Korach is refusing to accept. Okay.
Can I just add a small idea I heard along the same lines that I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure if it was Rashi who brought it, but they say that when Korach was giving these two examples, he was really hinting to Moshe Rabbeinu at this idea. He said, Kal Yisrael, we're all Kal Am Kol Kedushim, we're all like these Farim, and we're a nation that's like fully Tchila. So what do we need a leader like Moshe Rabbeinu? What do we need that extra addition if we're all holy? We have Svarim, we have Klal Yisrael's holy. What does Klal Yisrael need a leader for? Well, we already have what we need. We already are that beautiful Tchila string. Why do we need a leader? So he was hinting that we don't need Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron. We don't need a leader because we're already pure and we already have our own greatness.
Yeah, that's part of what he was doing. So, but that again is the will to receive oneself alone. Okay, it's disguised, all right, but it's his ego talking. All right, the truth is that he completely forgot that every single aspect of his life, okay, even the ability to think and decide these things, actually comes from chesed, because God's giving him, through God's loving kindness, he's got the ability to talk and to think negative thoughts and to think angry thoughts against Moshe, okay? And he completely loses the sense of the original chesed that God is giving him in order to puff himself up with pride, okay? And by going against Moses, going against his teacher, what he's doing is that he's inflating his ego, all right? That's what he's doing. And he's using his left-hand line, which is what he's got, only for himself alone. So it's when he accuses Moshe, basically, that's really when he moves from a machloket, trying to find the truth, into it is really about me. This is not about trying to find the truth at all.
Did he start off trying to find the truth and then his ego got a hold of him, or always was bad intentions?
It seems to me, well, one doesn't obviously know the answer to that question, but it does seem to me that the Torah is hinting, from what we've just learned here, that v'ikach Korach ben Levi, one doesn't really know. Rabbi Baruch Shalom Ashlag relates to this question, and he said it could well have been that up to this point, Korach was willing to listen to Moses and be a good Levi, okay? And do what, because he receives the tafkid of a Leviim. I mean, it wasn't nothing. They served in the temple, in the Mishkan, all right? So it wasn't nothing. But when, according to his way of thinking, according to his logic, he should have been appointed the leader instead of Elitzaphan, who was from the younger brother. That's when he blew it. That's when it got to his ego. And then what came clear was that his faith in Moses was only good for when things didn't really matter that much to him. When it didn't matter to him, then he was okay to follow Moses. But when something touched him on the raw, that's when his will to receive for himself alone overcame him. So when you say, well, was he always like this? One doesn't really know the answer, but probably he was, but it didn't emerge until something happened to trigger it. I think that the Torah hints that he was, because the first mention of Korach that we have, again, it says only up to Ben Levi. It doesn't say Ben Yisrael. Okay, so let me just go on 1 second. Machloket l'shem shamayim. Okay, what's a machloket l'shem shamayim? Shemitnahelet ben Talmidei Chachamim, which is conducted amongst Talmidei Chachamim. Nirei kamo machloket ben Abaye and Rabbah. Looks like, for example, the machloket between Abaye and Rabbah, two great sages. B'tchilat perek sheni b'masachet Bava Metzia. It's at the beginning of chapter 2 in the Masachet Bava Metzia. Now, I'm not going there. I don't know Talmud well enough. Abaye and Rabbah were arguing for some length, says over in 2 pages worth of a very long and great machloket. Okay. And it's about whether somebody who's lost something and he's not aware that he's lost it, can you say that he's despaired of ever finding it? And one says yes, and the other one says no. And anyhow, some long machloket. And for 2 whole pages, there are quarreling over this, like bringing different arguments. And finally, the Gemara brings a proof, which is in favor of Rabbah and against Abaye. And Abaye doesn't know how to answer this proof. And it seems that this diyun is finally being settled. Like most places in the Gemara, apparently, and that the halakha is decided in, like Rabbah, in his argument with Abaye. But then somebody calls out in the Beit Midrash there, Turgama Rabbah aliba de Abaye. But Rabbah has actually decided according to the system of Abaye. In fact, Rabbah answered the problem according to Abaye's system. How much truth, how much purity is hidden in this very short line? In the heat of the discussion, okay, when Rabbah is about to bring his, deciding moment, okay, and the halacha is going to be decided according to his opinion, he goes beyond himself into the thought of Abaye to understand something of his system, which Abaye himself didn't understand, to the extent that in the search for the truth, okay, we actually need to find that the real truth is that truth doesn't belong to anybody, okay? It's not on one side or the other. He finally decides it. Rabbah decides it according to the system of Abaye. He went into Abaye's system even deeper than Abaye did, okay? So Yaakov Avinu, so here you see an argument which was a true search for the truth. Which one's right? They weren't looking to see whether I'm right, he's right, okay? They're looking to see, how do we get to the truth? Okay, apparently it says this is one of the 6 places in the whole of the Talmud which the halacha was decided according to Abaye and not according to Rabbah. Now, Yaakov Avinu refused to put his seal of truth on a machloket which only sees one side. Okay, and which just tries to grab for itself all sorts of reasons which belong to the subject and which don't belong to the subject. Okay? In other words, the quarrel only for the sake of the quarrel. The end of such a machloket is that it drowns itself. And thus the earth opened up its mouth and swallowed up those who were arguing. Because the world cannot suffer such a lie, which is disguised as the truth. On the contrary, the world is looking for the Kohanim who go up onto the Duchan and bless the people of Israel with love. And this is what is written in the book of Divrei Yamim. And those were standing and their sons from the sons of Kahati. Heman Hamshoer ben Yoel ben Shmuel, ben Elkanah ben Yerucham ben Eliel ben Toach, ben Tziv ben Elkanah ben Mahat ben Amashai, ben Elkanah ben Yoel ben Azariah ben Tzfania, ben Tahat ben Asir ben Aviasaph ben Korach, ben Yitzhak ben Kahat ben Levi ben Israel. So here in Divrei Yamim was written one of the sons of Korach, okay, who did survive because he didn't agree with his father, okay, and ultimately all those generations he's mentioned in Divrei Yamim, and he's mentioned as, all the generations, Ben Korach, Ben Yitzhak, Ben Kahat, Ben Levi, Ben Yisrael. Kan ba'achdut, here in unity. במקום שבו הלוויים מתוארים בתפקידם על הדוכן, כמברכים וברו, when here in unity, the place where the Leviim who are described in their role on the Dukhan as blessing, when they see the good in every single one, mitgale kocho shel Yaakov, there now is revealed the power of Yaakov, ba'achdut, in unity, b'dveikut, in dveikut with Hashem, u'be'emet, and in truth. I thought this was beautiful, really beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. What's the name of the person again that we were just reading that was the Parish on this SMS?
Okay, so he's a rabbi called Rabbi Ayal Vered. He's written some amazing books. He's written two books on, one is called El Svat Emet, and this picks out choice pieces on the Svat Emet. And he's a rabbi at Machon Meir in Yerushalayim, and he's Rav Akilat Yachdav in Petah Tikva. And he is also written a wonderful book, which I read every Elul, called Rimzei Elul, Hints of Elul. It's the most wonderful, wonderful way to get into tshuva.
Wow.
So I really recommend his books. They've got, the Hebrew is simple, and he's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
You're
beautiful.
really, really welcome. I felt that this is really important for today because the different machloket which we have in Am Yisrael right now, which is so distressing, we have to be really, really clear, okay, to find the truth on both sides and not to go into machloket, l'shema machloket. That I felt was not use machloket as a weapon, okay, but only as a way to look for truth, only as a way to levarer the truth, like Abai and Rabbah, or Hillel and Shammai. I felt this was such a powerful lesson and so needed.
Thank you, Yedidah.
Bless you.
Shalom, Laila Tov.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, and Chodesh Tov.
Shabbat Shalom.
Chodesh Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Quiet
Very
times
shalom,
in the
yeah.
north. Okay, Besorot Tovot. Okay. I just
Good
hope
stuff.
that everybody stays good and quiet.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
What is the Gemara that you mentioned in the beginning with about the 5 different parts of the soul
Yes.
with the
That's a
5 feelings?
yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. It's I can put down the chat for you. Let me see. Do you know what? I was working with that this week. Where did I put it? I put it on a PowerPoint. Hold on a second, I'll get my PowerPoint open and I'll show it to you. Where did I put my PowerPoint? 1 second, where am I? It was a really, really powerful piece. Let me think a minute. There. The thing with your computer is you've got to really remember where you stored things. Ah, here we are. No, that's not the one. No, that's not it. Where have I gone back? Oh, hold on. If I do it the other way, I'll find it. Yeah, there. Right. Okay. Now then, if we go to Zoom, share screen. Okay, I was working on something this week. Okay, this is what it says in Brachot, page 10, verse, each page in the Gemara is like a leaf, okay? So it's got two sides. So this is the first side, Amud Aleph. And it writes like this: just as the Holy One, blessed be he, fills the entire world, so too the soul fills the entire body. Just as the Holy One, blessed be he, sees but is not seen, so too does the soul see but is not seen. Just as the Holy One, blessed be he, sustains the entire world, so too the soul sustains the entire body. Just as the Holy One, blessed be he, is pure, so too is the soul pure. Just as the Holy One, blessed be he, resides in a chamber within a chamber in his inner sanctum, so too the soul resides in a chamber within a chamber in the innermost recesses of the body. Therefore, that which has these 5 characteristics, the soul, should come and praise he who has these 5 characteristics. And this is based, beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And this is based on the 5 times that King David said, Baruchi nafshi et Hashem. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I'll put the reference here, and I'll put the Brachot 10a. You can find it in, you can, Safaria. If you look in Safaria, you'll be able to find that. I'll put that in the chat for you. There you go. Okay, that's the reference.
Okay.
All right. I thought it was amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody. Have a lovely, lovely Shabbat. A quiet Shabbat. B'sorot tovot. Okay, be well. Beautiful.
Good job.
Yeah,
Good
it looked
job.
lovely where you were, Menchi. Were you in a garden?
Yes,
Talking to me?
Gan Eden.
Sorry?
Gan Eden. Gan Eden.
Gan Eden completely. Absolutely. Absolutely Gan Eden. I wish I was with you.